Anybody else in their 30s thought when they get to 30 or 35 would have everything figured out?
Single women in your 30s, it's cuffing season, and I need to give you some cold hard facts. If you're ready to be in a committed relationship with a man, you need to work smarter, not harder.
So now I'm over 30, that means I'm expired.
Why do women always wait until it's too late to find their dream man? They work backwards.
If you are a single nurse, you've never been married, you don't have kids, just know you're not the only one, because same.
Where are the men that give princess treatment? Because I'm telling you now, I am not going near another man who doesn't give me princess treatment.
Why do women have expiry date? Now what?
It's simply biology. At a certain point, women lose the attractiveness they once had. Kindly subscribe to the channel as it further supports us in our work. Thank you.
I'm not ashamed to admit I'm a 27 going on 28-year-old woman, and I'm obsessed with Romy Mars.
Being single in your 30s is waking up alone, but also loving having a queen-size bed to yourself. It's living in a very pink apartment and wishing there was someone in it with you. It's loving your alone time, but also wishing you weren't alone so much. It's wanting to go on a vacation, but not knowing who to go with. It's loving your life, but also wondering what if.
Divorced men, hear me. I need your opinion. Just come back from a date. Another divorced man, which is generally the way when you're in your 40s. So I have dated a few divorced men. But my question is this. Every man that I have met who has been married said they will not ever consider marrying again. Is this just the men that I've met, or is this a general consensus? What have they done to you? Some of us are lovely.
Of course, divorced men don't want to get married again. I mean, why would they? What would be the point? They've already experienced firsthand how the system works against them. The emotional toll, financial drain, and potential for another legal nightmare make the idea of remarrying completely unappealing. And to be honest, the success rate of second marriages is even lower than the first, and by the third, it's practically doomed. Statistically, each attempt at marriage becomes less stable, probably because the baggage, trust issues, and legal complexities pile up. But of course, there are those divorced men who still take the plunge again, hoping this time will be different, only to get burned all over again. The truth is, the modern marriage contract isn't built to protect men. It's built to keep them financially and emotionally vulnerable. But majority of divorced men don't want to get married again.
Anybody else in their 30s thought when they get to 30 or 35 would have everything figured out? I felt like once I hit 30, life will make sense. And honestly, these days, every day, I'm like getting more and more what the F moments. So mom and dad, you really faked it well, because we don't know what we're doing as adults.
Where are the men that give princess treatment? Because I'm telling you now, I am not going near another man who doesn't give me princess treatment. I'm sorry, it's not happening, darling, because I want someone who literally is obsessed with me, worships the grounds I walk on, literally kisses my feet. I literally want kisses on my toes, all right? That is exactly what I want. I don't think it's normal to be nonchalant. No, I don't want someone who's just, yeah, you're kind of pretty. No, I want you to literally, as soon as I wake up, I want you to kiss my forehead, tell me I'm the most perfect person you've ever seen on the planet Earth. And I want flowers. I want coffee every day. I want love. I want compliments. I want admiration every single day. Because what do you mean? You're my husband, babe. You are my husband. And I'm going to just settle for someone who doesn't give me that? No, sweetie. No. I would not do that. I'm so sorry. I need someone who literally is so irrevocably in love with me that they cannot imagine a day without me. They are pining for me every single day. They cannot ever take a breath without me in their life.
What this woman is describing isn't princess treatment at all. She wants a man to kiss her feet, kiss her toes, and worship the ground she walks on. Let's be real. You're not looking for a man, madam. You're looking for a servant, a fan, or even a worshipper. Princess treatment is about being cherished and valued in a relationship, not demanding blind devotion like a dictator on a throne. What she really wants is a man who bends over backward to cater to her every whim, never challenges her, never says no, and exists solely to feed her ego. That's not a partner, that's a doormat. The worst part. Women like this disguise their entitlement as standards and convince themselves they deserve it just because they exist. So many women say they want this treatment, but many of them don't qualify for such things. Women who says stuff like this aren't looking for a man to build with. They're looking for a personal ATM.
I'm 38 and single, and I would never go on a walk or a hike date for a first date. Not only do I think it's low effort, but it's also a safety concern. I do go on coffee dates. I think coffee dates are great for a first date. You know, it's like 45 minutes, see if there's a vibe, and if not, great, let's go our separate ways as fast as we possibly can. If the vibe's good, let's do dinner, let's do an activity, we'll figure it out.
Where are all the good men at?
Right here, waiting on a good woman. So the question is, where all the good women at? We are working and staying home because we don't want to get hurt again. Being to ourselves because another heartbreak just won't work.
The first lie that the devil tries to get us women to believe is the fact that as we get older, our value decreases. So quite honestly, I found myself starting to feed into this lie. So last week, it was actually my birthday. I turned 31 years old, and it was a very, very low-key birthday. I didn't post it on social media. I didn't tell any of my friends. I didn't have a big celebration because quite honestly, I was feeling a type of way about being 31 and still not married and still not having kids. So there was an influencer who came up with this philosophy that a woman's danger zone is between 27 and 35.
Actually, this has nothing to do with the devil, madam. Women's value in the dating market decreases because of biology, plain and simple. It has nothing to do with some supernatural force punishing women. It's just nature. If a woman is ashamed of being 31, unmarried, and still without kids, it's because her priorities weren't in order. It's not society's fault. It's not men's fault. It's the result of the choices she made when she was younger. So many women have this fantasy of being married by 30 or their mid-30s, but it rarely happens. Why? Because when they're young and in their prime, they're not actually looking for a real long-term partner. They're partying, chasing excitement, rejecting good men, and living their best life until reality hits. This is when you see the desperation kick in, rushing into relationships, lowering standards, or trying to pressure men into marriage. But it's too late to rewind the clock. The truth is, if marriage and kids were really important to them, they would have prioritized it when they had the best chances.
There's been this new wave of single Gen Zers that have no idea where to look for their next date, because they claim the dating apps aren't working and they have to look lost in Home Depot. But I'm here to be honest with you guys. You do not need to look lost in Home Depot, first of all. Second of all, you guys don't leave your house. How are you expecting to meet new people when you guys just sit at home all weekend, all week? You're either at work or at school, not going out of your way to meet anyone, not going anywhere, not putting yourself in uncomfortable situations to meet people. How do you expect to meet anyone that you would possibly want to date if you're always in your house? The secret is literally to go outside.
What to do when that guy asks you to split the bill? I'm going to give you such a great solution that will never happen to you again. Here's what you're going to do. You're not even going to wait until you finish dinner. No. Whether it's lunch, whether it's drinks, whether it's dinner, as soon as it hits the table, as soon as you get your drink, as soon as you get your lunch, as soon as you get your dinner, you're going to look down at it, you're going to look up at the person, and you're going to say, "Thank you so much. This is very kind of you. It looks fantastic." Boom. Done. You understand me? No worrying, no stressing. You thank them in advance. Now they know they're the hero that's going to be paying the bill. All right? I hope it helps.
And he should be asking, what are you thanking me for? If you're out on a date as two grown adults, why is the expectation always on the man to cover everything? I've always wondered why women come up with tactics, excuses, and manipulations just to avoid paying their fair share of the bill. Instead of just pulling out their wallets like a normal person, they'll pretend to reach for their purse, conveniently forget their card, or suddenly need to use the bathroom when the bill arrives. What year are they living in where they can't or won't pay for their own stuff? They claim to be independent, strong, and equal to men in every way until the bill comes. Suddenly, traditional gender roles matter again. If a woman can afford designer bags, expensive makeup, and nights out with her friends, she can afford to cover her own damn meal. It's not about the money. It's about entitlement and the expectation that a man should always pay, no matter what.
I firmly believe that you know if someone is your person, like, immediately. Within the first couple dates, like, you have this overwhelming sense of connection to them and, like, that you want to spend every waking moment with them. I have been in love with one person in my life. The second I met that person, I knew that I was going to fall in love with them. People who say, oh, just wait it out, like, it'll grow, like, you'll grow attracted to them. Like, I don't believe in that. I think you can love someone more over time, but your initial attraction and connection with them, it's instant, it's chemical, like, you know right away. I don't know why I felt compelled to share it on the internet today, but I did. Happy 2025.
Okay, TikTok land, I have a question, and this is for all of the younger guys that like to date older women. I have had a huge, massive amount of young men in my DMs lately, and I tell them how old I am because they are a lot younger. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's wrong or right, or, I mean, I've dated my fair share of younger men, but I just am curious. After I tell them how old I am, they're still trying to wife me up. So what is it about an older woman that you find so interesting and makes you want an older woman? Is it like the experience? Like, what is it? I'm curious.
Some younger men do truly like older women, but let's be honest, most of them are there for the experience, not commitment. They're looking for a fun, no-strings-attached situation, and older women, in their desperation to feel desired again, fall right into the trap. Some of these older women are so eager for attention that they ignore the obvious. These young guys aren't looking to settle down with them. They're there for the thrill, the novelty. But long-term, marriage, building a future together, that's rarely in the equation. Yet these older women jump headfirst into these flings, convincing themselves that age is just a number and that this young Chad is really into them for who they are. They ignore the fact that their value in the dating market has dropped, and instead of accepting reality, they chase temporary validation.
Ladies who are over 35, do not despair. I'm going to give you a little bit of real talk, but at the same time, I'm really trying to encourage you. I was there not too long ago. I was single. I was something like 35, 36, 37, and I was trying to re-enter the dating world. And that's when I stopped dating and I started vetting. And so let's say you're out there now and you're vetting people, getting to know them and getting to know yourself. Let's make sure you've done your work first. But you're not past your prime completely. You're really just working on a limited fertility schedule. So as long as you're looking for someone who's maybe a little bit older, who has different priorities, and maybe has already had a family, then you're going to be fine. But you have to be realistic about these trade-offs, right? You can't just function from all the preferences that maybe you had 10 years ago. You just can't. So be reasonable and look for the whole package.
If you're single and in your 30s, I feel like you're going to relate to this. Or honestly, if you're just a single woman who is going through it in the single journey. I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were both talking about how we're both single. I'm 30, she's 32. And we were like, what the fuck? Some people, they meet their significant others in high school. They meet in college. And we are out here doing all the work that it takes to just meet a man that we remotely feel attracted to. We are like, I've literally done plant medicine, I do breath work, I meditate, I manifest, I'm doing all the things. And meanwhile, Steve and Susie over here met when they were 24. They're just living their lives. And it's like, what else must I do?
If many modern women understood that finding someone earlier on in their lives is important if they want to start a family later on, they wouldn't be struggling so much to find a man. There are so many women at 30, 35, and even 40, crying in their beds every night because the life they thought they would have, the loving husband, the stable home, and the children, never became a reality. The men they once deemed too nice or boring are now happily married to women who valued commitment early on. She mentioned she's doing all the work to find a man she's remotely attracted to, but what kind of man is she actually looking for? Because if she's struggling this much, it's probably not just about finding a man, but about chasing a man who doesn't want her. At some point, women like this need to stop blaming men and start being honest about their standards and past choices.
I think that it's 100% the women's fault. 100%. Because it's like, all right. You put a piece of meat in front of a tiger, you can't be mad he ate it. You put the piece of meat right in front of him. Now, I know everyone will say, Pearl, don't compare women to meat. But I will. I just did. Now, yeah, because men are in control of relationships. Women are in control of sex. So we pick who we sleep with, men who pick who they wife.
If you are a single nurse and you are in your 20s, you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s, you've never been married, you don't have kids, just know you're not the only one, because same. And I don't know why, but I've really been thinking about like why that is. For me personally, I just like don't want to go on a first date on my like days off, or like if I only have one day off, like I don't want to spend dinner with someone who like I might get along with, I might not, like. But I was just thinking about it and I was like, well, if you don't meet people, you won't meet people. It doesn't help that I live in like this small military community, so we all date each other pretty much. But last night I was on a date at like a brewery, and I turned and the guy I'm going on a date with tonight was on a date at the same brewery, and we just were like, see you tomorrow. All that to say, it's Sunday. If you're not doing anything, download a dating app, go on the date. Our parents are getting concerned.
I also deleted my Hinge 3 weeks ago because I was like, oh, I just don't have the mental capacity to deal with a man. And I decided I was going to move in May. So like, what's the point of me seeing someone for 2 months unless they're just going to be a body? But I didn't want to be like, hey, I'm just looking for a body, because I just feel like that it's just like insensitive. And I just feel like it takes like the human connection out of it. Whereas like, I feel like the whole point of like seeing someone and like dating someone is like trying to see if there's like a connection that could be formed. But it's tough because I'm in my early to mid 20s, and I feel like this is like prime time, you know, like I am in my prime right now, and it's probably like the easiest time for me to like get someone, because one, like I'm building myself up, but I still have like that flexibility to like form a really like ride or die relationship with someone. And like I want that ride or die relationship. I don't really want someone to kind of like come into my life like in my 30s when like I've already figured everything out. I just feel like when you meet earlier and you kind of like form together, that bond is just so much stronger. But also like I love being single. Like I feel the need to date, but like I really don't feel empty at all that I'm not in a relationship. And like, I feel like the next relationship I'm going to be in is like, he's going to be my husband. And I don't plan on lowering my standards just to be in a relationship. So I just feel like it's going to be bodies on bodies until I find my husband. So that's the dilemma. Like, I just feel like it's going to be strictly casual or my husband.
Oh, how disgusting.
You know, I was kind of convinced this woman was actually going to prioritize finding a husband until she mentioned she's going to be hooking up with a bunch of men until she finds the one. At that point, I knew she wasn't serious. How does that even make sense? How will she have time to find a husband if she's too busy having casual relationships? The logic is completely backwards. If marriage is truly her priority, she should be vetting men for long-term compatibility, not wasting time on meaningless flings. This is exactly what I mean when I say some of these women burn through their best years, and then, later on, try to find a good man to dump all their emotional baggage on. The more she indulges in hookup culture, the more she gets emotionally jaded, and the fewer high-value men will see her as a serious candidate for marriage.